Our now brown cow.
We're going to start this one off.
Welcome to page 4 of the journal. How are you, sir?
Journal page 4.
Started off with
how are you, sir?
I'll start off with asking you how you are because I haven't done that the past 3 times.
I
so
appreciate that.
Just go into depth of how
That's
you are, please.
delightful. How am I? Well, 11 days into the new year.
It is.
A little bit crazy. I had a delightful week this week.
That's awesome.
Very good week. I've restructured how I'm doing things a little bit.
Very nice.
Routine-wise, training-wise, that sort of thing. Had belated Kris Kringle with my friends last night.
Very nice.
And it was very good. Got up to a lot of shenanigans.
How was your present? What did you gift the person?
Well, a dear friend, you would know of this man.
Yeah.
Tom.
Great guy.
Now, very good lad.
Yeah.
There's a running joke inside the group that he's my arch nemesis.
Really?
Oh, just, we just hate each other a little bit.
I can see that.
Just a little bit. Not like...
It's a love-hate.
It's a love-hate. It's mostly love, but like a little bit of like... I tried to waterboard him on New Year's.
Really?
Like, not actually, but like, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, he keeps referring to the journal as the journey.
The journey. Well, it is a journey at the same time.
It's our journey.
Yeah.
But it's the journal of our journey.
Yeah.
Maybe this one is page 4, the journal of the journey.
The journey.
The journey. Anyway, so I edited him into the...
Did you just see
Yes.
that? There's lightning at the moment, so there might be some thunder.
Yeah, if you hear a bit of clap, loud bang, that sort of
there
thing,
might be some thunder.
don't stress. There we are.
So
it's just weather's taking a turn.
It's the nighttime one, so watch this before bed. Like
Weather
the
has
really
taken a turn.
relaxation ones.
I do quite often put on, play thunderstorm sounds for sleep.
I do like Irish music, like
Irish jig, sort of.
yeah, that's what I listen to before bed.
But yeah, so I actually edited him into one of our thumbnails for one of the journal loads.
Yeah.
And I renamed it The Journey.
But you got rid of my face.
Yeah, well, I had to get rid of one. I had to get rid of one of us, and just because it was my KK present.
But I'm 50%.
I just thought mate, you're more than 50%.
I'm 100%.
100% effort.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went down very, very well. He did, unfortunately, quite easily guess me.
Oh, he did?
As his Kris Kringle. Well, it was
Yeah.
pretty personalised.
Yeah.
We had a great time. It was a pool vibe outside, good weather. But my goodness, are the mosquitoes out to play at the moment?
Oh yeah, a bit of you don't want to be using chemicals though on your skin.
No, but how do you avoid?
What's worse, a mosquito bite or chemicals?
This is a tough question.
I'll take 50 mosquito bites before I put on Aerogard.
Head to toe covered.
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad? No Aerogard.
No Aerogard.
You're just gonna tough it out.
I will tough it out.
That is exceptional. Last night the boys actually got out this stuff. It wasn't Aerogard. It was called Off.
It's like the Aldi version.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's Off.
Was it 100% DEET?
Probably. I hope so.
That's horrible.
It was. I think it was just methylated spirits.
Oh, that's horrible.
Me personally, mate, I said Off. Take the lid off and pour it over me.
Ooh.
I want to be covered in it because these little mosquitoes, they're sucking me up.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They're sucking me up. Now, I do want to actually mention, just before we continue with the topics that we want to talk about, Ben and I had a little bit of a soft argument before starting this today.
Yeah, not over it.
In the moment, not over it. We're begrudgingly here. But in the moment, I felt discouraged. You probably felt the same.
I didn't feel discouraged at all.
Didn't feel discouraged.
No.
Felt powerful.
I felt
anyway,
like I was right and you were wrong.
I felt a little bit discouraged, and I didn't really want to film. And where I'm going with this is I want to talk about the idea of how important it is to just show up.
Yeah.
So...
Did you actually not want to film?
Immediately after that, I wasn't the keenest on it, But
Bad mindset, brother.
But at the end of the day, no matter what, whether it's a serious argument or something that's not so serious, I love you and I'm going to move past it. And it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. But going on to my point of how important it is to just show up, I know that just showing up tonight... Thanks. I appreciate it. I was waiting for that one.
You didn't let me get it in.
Tonight, I just thought to myself, look, just got to show up, and I know we're going to have a great chat.
Yeah.
And I know that afterwards, I'm going to be so grateful that we did just do it. And that if I got in my head and just said no, and then we messed up our consistency and the discipline that we've had on getting these out every week, and also just the discipline of us having a genuine chat with each other,
Yeah.
that I feel way worse off for it. And I just want to touch on that point and how it goes into so many other aspects of life. Like, a lot of days you don't want to go to work, or you don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to work on that project that you've really been working on.
Yeah, like this whole week I have not wanted to go to work a single day.
But every day you've just shown up.
The thing I tell myself is every day, I say, I believe something wonderful will happen today. So even if I wake, because this whole week I've been waking up just like, fuck, I just don't want to go at all. Like, I know it's just going to be the same shit, like talking to customers and just being in my own head, like whilst I'm working by myself and stuff. And I just keep telling myself, like, something wonderful will happen today, something wonderful will happen today. So, just your perspective that you put on it.
I think that's a great perspective to have. And at the end of the day, you showed up, you kept your routine.
Yeah, 5 days of work, so
Yeah.
fucking...
You trained every single day after work.
Yeah. Oh, sauntered one day.
And sauntered one day.
And today.
But
trained 4 days.
You got after it, and you put more money into your bank account.
Yeah.
You kept your routine. It helped with your consistency around all the other things that you care about. And so I just wanted to touch on that fact, be a little bit raw and honest with everyone.
Raw.
Like raw.
Raw is law.
Raw is law. But that even when shit happens sometimes, just show up. And don't show up for anyone else, but show up for yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important, is every single time that you show up for yourself, you are doing something good for yourself. So I just wanted to touch on that before we get into...
Yeah, it's like, you're going to feel the same way, like, either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but by showing up, you might actually fix it.
Yeah.
Or you can dwell on the fact that you don't want to do it, or
Like,
you don't want to show up.
I could have just been like, oh, I'll just take a sick... Like, for example, this week, could just take a sickie and not go in. But I'll probably feel the exact same, or if not worse, if I just stayed in bed.
Yep.
Because then I haven't got any money, I haven't moved my body, haven't, like... You're pretty much just being like an incel, like, just in your bed all day, just, you know, so...
It's a great way to stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Not move forward.
Yeah.
If you let yourself feeling discouraged stop you from doing the other things that you care about.
Yeah.
How good is that?
So it's been hard, but a lot of hard things are really good. If you get what I'm putting down. Do you get what I'm putting down?
I certainly do.
Yeah.
Now, after mentioning that, I think you've got some things to talk about.
Well, we've kind of touched on it just then, like
Yeah,
how...
a little bit, but I think it leads in well to elaborating a little bit further.
Yeah, so how framing and perspective is everything. Like, how you perceive anything is what is, because that's how I perceive it. So this on like a Chris Williamson podcast, and it was like, if you're training and you'll get your heart rate up to like 190 and you'll literally feel like you're dying, some people would look at that and, like, for example, I have in the past, like, because I've got really, like, I had really bad health anxiety. I'd look at that, I'd be like, no, something's wrong with me. My heart's beating so fast, I shouldn't feel like this. On the other hand, you've got like for example, like a CrossFit Games athlete, which will go like literally so far beyond that point.
Yep.
And just be like, I've pushed myself to the limit, but I will recover. So that's like the framework I've just been trying to have at the moment with training, is like, I'm tired, but I can still do this because all Olympians are tired, like 90% of the time, you know. So just how you have to have a different perspective on everything that you're doing, or like a good perspective, pretty much. What I'm saying, like, you can perceive anything as good, you can perceive it as bad. So, you know, as well as if you get rejected, so in life, if you get rejected or something bad happens to you, rejection is just redirection. You could lose your job, but then 2 weeks later, your job that you've been dreaming of pops up like that. Or a years down the track, you're literally making more money that you've made but at your previous job. So
Maybe feeling more fulfilled
Yeah,
from the work
yeah.
that you're doing.
maybe you've got more time for your family. Like maybe your family's missed you so much, and that rejection because you've lost your job or you got injured. You know, you're able to actually attack things that, like, yeah,
That you might not have.
Yeah, might not have. So it's just redirection. So if you can frame anything to just redirection, it could be learning as well. Everything is learning. So
Well, I
there
think
is
that even goes further on to your point of that's even just a perspective, isn't it? That
that
rejection
yeah.
is redirection.
Yeah,
What
that's a
is
perspective,
having
yeah.
a different perspective on things.
that is dead set, just a different perspective.
Yeah.
So obviously we do know that there's horrible things that happen in life. Like there are things that are so out of your control and like
that will deeply affect you.
But the best option, even if it's you couldn't do anything to avoid it, is to still look at it in a positive manner.
Yep.
Because why would you look at it negative? There's negative things are going to happen in your life anyway. There is going to be a day where you know, your car's broke down, whatever, you know, but just staying positive.
Maybe it happened for a reason.
Exactly. So true. So true.
I think that is a beautiful,
So everyone
almost monologue from you.
monotone.
No, monologue. And I think that is, speaking of perspective, a great perspective for you to have on the outcomes of things.
Yeah.
Is that rejection is just redirection.
100%.
Sometimes it won't always go your way, but if you can reflect, and again touching on what we talk about in a lot of these pages, and you can be mindful and have the mindfulness to understand that maybe this is what was best for me, or even that rejection that may lead to redirection, it may actually not be direct redirection, but the rejection may make you think about things, how you want to change things, how you want to chase after something else.
Wow, this is like such a... It's like a serious one we're doing today. Very serious.
Yeah.
This is a great time to be serious, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I think
start of the new year. Silly season's a bit... I feel like silly season's behind us. Let's get the ball rolling.
I think a lot of these topics are going to be quite almost borderline philosophical.
Yeah,
today.
Philosophy.
I think it's important to have those serious ones.
Bro just said, yeah, philosophy.
Philosophy. Now, adding on to that beautiful set of words, I want to talk about that I think quite directly relates to everything that you were saying, and that is the power of accountability. Now, getting slightly less serious, you a few months ago told me this concept and idea that you should take accountability and responsibility of everything that happens to you.
You should.
And I said,
100%.
I don't think that applies to everything.
It does.
And you said, no, it does.
Car crash?
Car crash,
Fire
your
plane.
fault. Shouldn't have been driving. This is
Fire
what you said.
plane.
Now, when Ben said this, I actually proceeded to immediately punch him as hard as I could.
And I said,
And then
sorry.
told him not to retaliate. And said, no. That's your fault. You need to be accountable for that. And you need to take responsibility for that.
And what did I do?
To which, in the moment,
I took
and I don't
100%
know
accountability.
how much of it was to prove his own point, he did not get upset, and he did not retaliate.
It was how I perceived it as well.
So, you perceived it that it was
Perceived no pain.
your fault. And I asked him, do you think that was reasonable of me to do? To which he replied, I should have been faster.
I should have gotten
I should have had better reflexes.
If I did 9 to 10 months of reflex training, I could have gotten out of the way.
Mixed martial arts.
Nope, just strictly reflex.
Strictly reflex.
Well, that would have
training.
helped me more in that moment. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Because I didn't want to hit you back.
No.
We weren't in a brawl.
No.
So I would have done
I was just trying to
reflex
prove a
training.
point that you then doubled down and proved your point even further.
And I will continue to prove that point
Yeah.
every day.
Now, on a serious note, that doesn't necessarily obviously apply to everything.
You should.
Not every single thing that happens to you is your fault. But
Yeah,
for the
man.
most part, if you can hear screaming,
That's through the storm.
don't be alarmed. Hopefully, it's just the neighbours having some fun. Hopefully. But, anyway, not everything that happens to you is your fault.
But you can see how the screaming would be our fault because we're filming outside.
Yeah, well, as in, the mic's picking up the screaming.
Yeah, so we should
Yeah.
have bought mics that cut out screaming.
Yeah, I could have changed the settings on them, or we could have sat inside.
We could have.
We could have noise-proofed a room.
Nah, but I think we're gonna be I don't think we are.
No, we're
I
not
think we need
getting
to double
too
down.
carried
You've
away.
got a mosquito.
Mosquito repellent break. Okay,
Right.
mosquito repellent break over. Ben opted out because, as
As you heard.
you will have watched earlier, he'd rather not. So,
I'd rather not. Do you remember when I
You
used to
don't
do
have
that
to.
so much as a kid?
Oh my goodness. Ben used to have this thing where any time I asked him to do
Oh
something...
my gosh, you remember that?
Yeah, what would you respond with?
I don't want to do it again.
Go on.
I'd say I'd rather not in a really
in the most
annoying.
high-pitched,
I'd rather not.
annoying... Like, it was the biggest rage bait I've ever seen.
Rage
honestly. It was pure and honest rage bait. The power of accountability, I truly believe that taking more responsibility for things and being more accountable for not only your actions but the things that happen to you will positively shift your mindset in the long term.
It brings the power back to you.
Absolutely.
So, if you're blaming your sibling for why you feel like shit, that gives all the power to them on why you feel like shit. When you could just take that to you and change how you feel.
Which that could also, in turn, keep you feeling worse for longer, right? Because you don't think that you have the power to change it because you think it's somebody else's fault.
Like,
right?
I think that with you a lot.
That it's my fault.
I feel like shit because of you.
Yeah, well, it's probably true.
You did say that to me today.
It does happen. This guy might get a cameo.
Fritz!
Be relaxed. This is Fritz. Little German sausage.
He identifies
Look at you.
as a dog with a bow tie.
Dog with a bow tie. I entirely agree with you with the fact that you get the power back from that situation or that feeling or emotion, and then I think you're able to more quickly change how you feel about it by taking responsibility and accountability for it. And as we said on the similar topic earlier, that doesn't apply to absolutely everything, but I think the more that you do that and the more that you practice that, the more that you realize that you do have the power to change how you feel or change the outcome of a certain situation.
Alex Hormozy from Wish. From Team U.
Mate, it's just inspiration.
It is inspiration.
So
Well, that's all that those people are. They're just, it's not regurgitating information, but it's like,
no,
it's their own spin on it.
It's inspiration. It's like that whole thing of taking a concept or an idea or whatever it is from one person. It's like plagiarizing, right? You're just entirely stealing what they do.
We chat GPT this whole
But
journal.
this is actually entirely deep fake AI.
Wait, we are.
We're not real.
It's AI.
Yeah. Ben might be real. Not
I
me.
think I'm the only real one here.
Not me. I'm programmed. If you take a concept or an idea from just one person and you entirely only rely on recreating that thing, like that's plagiarism. But if you
Yeah.
take inspiration and ideas from a multitude of people, that is purely just
That's who you are.
like doing research and forming opinions and having a perspective on the topic of talking so much about perspective.
Take a
It's-
grain of salt from everyone. I guess you could
Yeah.
learn something from everyone, but your idols or the people you look up to, don't just be them. The amount of people I see that look like Bailey Smith,
Mm.
and but their whole personality is Bailey Smith.
Is that I'm Bailey Smith?
Is that like they grow their hair, look like
I'm
Bailey
Baz
Smith,
Luhrmann.
but they'll never be Baz because Baz is Baz. They need to be them because they could even be better, but they're selling themselves short by trying to be this singular person. Why don't you take inspiration from Baz, from Alex Hormozy, from all these amazing people, and you become even better?
And they lose out on authenticity.
Yeah, so it's just like people go, Bailey Smith. I saw a TikTok the other day, Bailey Smith from Team U, and it was
Team U.
like a guy who
We've
looked
moved on from Wish.
from
It's
Team
Team
U.
U.
And then I got sent this from Kelvy and a chick, and she said, this looks like you. And I said, no, it doesn't.
Good, because you want to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
You don't. Like
Maybe
a
I
lot
look,
of-
maybe I'm handsome, but I'm not
yeah, well,
look like Bailey Smith.
A lot of people would probably go, oh yeah, maybe I do.
fuck
And
yeah,
it's
I'm
like-
gonna go into that more. But I was like, hey mate, like let's.
You lean so far into it, you lose who you might actually be, or the good qualities about you.
Yeah, so-
Outside of the fact that you might just look like somebody that is considered good looking.
Look, I took it as a compliment because I think Bailey Smith's pretty good looking. So I took it as a compliment.
But you didn't go, I'm gonna lean entirely into
I went,
that as my
"That's it."
personality. And this is it's relatively jumbled, but like that's like any real and honest conversation is, right? So we hope you are following. If you're not, you start following now again. Now, next topic I wanted to get into, stress, dealing with stress. Now, we all deal with it.
Yeah.
We all feel it. But I think the way that we go about it is really important. And so much of what we're going to talk about today, I think, adds on to your entire point about perspective earlier. Because I've written a few things down here that I guess ideas or concepts that I like to try and maintain in my mind when I am feeling stressed. And that is, we obviously all deal with stress, and having stress and feeling stress is more than okay. But stress should not fuel you, because I know a lot of people where like being constantly stressed fuels them. Like
Sometimes like feel good.
yeah, it's almost
Yeah,
like
it's like
that's
you're
the
addicted to
rush
that,
that they're
yeah.
chasing is like, oh my goodness, everything's so overwhelming right now, but I love it.
It's like that. It's just such a tense feeling,
Well,
and
'cause
I've
it's
felt
a-
it.
yeah.
I sort of like it sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it
it's
feels
like-
good.
But then it's like the afterwards, you're like, fuck, look how much energy it just.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And you just end up getting overwhelmed and discouraged. And I think it's that whole concept as well, like it feels good because at the end of the day, like enough stress as well, like you get into fight or flight.
It's like a high.
Like you literally have adrenaline pumping in your
Yeah.
system. I think a lot of people let that fuel them, and they allow all of these stressful moments or situations, and they almost assort after.
And then when they're not in it, they're like, what's wrong?
And then
I
that,
felt that.
that
so
can almost
much.
loop into like a little bit of self-sabotage.
It's like, well, nothing's wrong. Let's
Let me
Let's get
find
back into that
something to
state.
get really
Yeah.
stressed about. Or let me do something that would not be what I want to do because it may cause a stressful situation. But yeah, stress should absolutely not fuel you or overwhelm you as well. Sometimes things are out of your control and you're going to be overwhelmed. We got alarms going off and everything. Look at this.
It's out of our control.
It is out of our control. And you know what?
Can
As
we
much
keep-
as
can
I'm
we keep-
worried-
is it? will it
Yeah,
work?
I'm keeping this in.
Yeah.
As much as I may worry about the fact that, as much as I could worry about the fact that those sirens may be picked up by the mic, it's out of my control. It's out of our control. Why would I get stressed about it? It's not worth it.
Don't.
And I have broken it down relatively simply into a few things, and this is not a philosophy that I've personally created. It's one that I have come across it's a philosophy that I've come across in my couple of years of existence. And it's that, is the thing that is causing you stress in your control? If yes, can you do something about it? And if you can, do it. Because knowing that it's in your control and knowing that you can do something about it, I guarantee you will drastically alleviate not only the stress that you're feeling, but also any overarching anxiety that you can feel from that situation or moment. Then on the flip side of that, I have, if the answer is no, accept how that thing makes you feel, acknowledge it, but if you are unable to do anything about it, and it is out of your control, understand that the outcome will not change, and stressing about it will not change it. Choose what is important to be stressed about, and understand that if there is something you can do about it, do it, and see how your perspective will change.
100%.
And it is very easy to not remember those sorts of ideals, but if you can do your best to constantly be mindful enough and aware enough personally that, okay, if I'm really stressed right now,
If you're in a heightened state,
take a moment, reflect on it, and ask yourself those questions. Can I do something about it? If yes, can I do that thing now, or when can I do it? If no, why am I letting it stress me out? And am I going to let the thing that's out of control the way that I feel?
because and on that point that you said, can I do anything about it now? Like, if it's already happened, like if you're stressed about something that you've already done or what you might have said or whatnot, like the outcome's going to be the same whether you stress about it or not.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if you tell yourself it is meant to be this way, then it gets rid of all the anxiety because
And stress.
it is meant to be this way because it's the only thing that is.
Yep.
Like, it's not meant to be any other way, so it is meant to be this way. You're sitting here right now. If you're feeling stressed, if you're worried about your life, or if things have happened to you, just tell yourself it's meant to be this way because guess what? It is this way. Like,
Yep.
it's meant to be this way. What are you going to do from now on to...
It's all to do, again,
Yeah.
we're just going further on about how important perspective is and how important it is to take the responsibility and take the power away from an external source or person. Because if the situation is not changeable, you stressing about it will not change it. So why stay in a heightened state that is undesirable and unenjoyable?
Yeah, I've been, like, stressed, like, about work. I've got a new manager and I'm stressed about what things are going to change and whatnot,
Mhm.
but it hasn't happened yet. Like, why am I stressed about that? You know what I mean?
Yep. And you can't do anything about it
Yeah,
now.
so it's just like the past couple of days, I've just been telling myself, like, whatever will be, but there's no point. What am I doing right now?
No.
Like, at this moment.
And you will deal with whatever happens when it happens.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. Okay, Sir Sire. I'm going to refer to you as Sire.
Don't call me that.
I think you like being called Sire.
I like being called the king.
What about the father?
Nah, there's only one father.
Simon
Arch.
Great
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, talk to me. You've got a point there?
How you going?
Oh, great.
Ah, talking to you. I'm good, mate. I want to talk about how fear,
Fair?
how fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. Obviously, people have talked about this before. Alex Hormozy.
An inch deep's quite a lot, though.
An inch is above average,
That's-
I'd say.
I'd argue well above average.
Like, if I see an inch, I'm like, that's a big inch.
You know, when you go to the hairdresser, you're like, oh, maybe just an inch, and they're like, do you know how much an inch is?
And then you end up
Like-
with nothing on your head.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. An inch is a lot.
An inch is a lot, and it can make a difference.
But not the point of this.
Anyways.
So fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
And that is because... So, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep because if I'm so fearful and worried about something, and it's because the fear is so big. And when it happens...
It's well above average.
The fear's so big, and then when it happens,
What is your philosophy on that?
it's that the fear consumes you for like days and days. If I'm so fearful about something happening,
Mm-hmm.
it consumes me for days and days. And then when it does happen, it's like not even... It's
It's like you were so overridden and overwhelmed by the
What could
fear of
potentially
a
happen.
potential outcome.
But when it does happen, you're like, hey, this is fine.
Mm.
Or, I can deal with this. Because
Yeah.
you definitely can deal with it. For example, I'll just use an example. This is how I'll explain it. For example, when I had my surgeries, I was so fearful about something going wrong in the surgeries. I was like, will I die or will I wake up from this surgery? And it consumed me for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I couldn't like go to work. I was so afraid. Afraid?
Afraid?
Afraid of this surgery that was going to happen. And then it happened. And I was fine. And so that 3 weeks of stressing didn't
fear
need...
probably consumed you.
Yeah, like, of fear consumed me for those 3 weeks, and then when it did happen, I was fine.
It didn't amount to anything, did
No.
it?
So, if fear's consuming you so much, what are you actually feared for? And when it does happen, are you okay? And just trying to change your mindset from that.
Understanding, I think, as well, and reflecting on times where maybe fear has consumed you. Are you okay now?
Yeah, like eventually,
Yeah.
you will be okay. Like, this will pass. Like, anything.
And if
The
you're
good and the
okay
bad
now,
will pass.
Everyone's dealt with fear multiple times in their life.
Yeah.
If you're okay now, and that feeling arises again, can you reflect on the fact that when
You were
felt
okay
like this
before.
before, you were okay?
Yeah.
And maybe even if you were temporarily negatively impacted at the time, your life goes on, and you still make do with what you have, and you do what you can to the best of your ability.
100%.
I think your entire point is on the fact that do not let fear run your life.
No.
No matter what the potential outcome is, there's no point on... I mean, it's exactly the same as stress. There's no point on being so scared or so fearful of something that may happen. And when it does happen, see how you deal with it and reflect on it afterwards and understand that it was okay. Even if it wasn't okay, it ultimately is okay.
Uzma Kappa.
Uzma Kappa.
Okay.
Great move on to, I guess we'll refer to no longer really silly season. It's sort of like...
Lock-in
It's sort of
time.
that lock-in season. Head down, get to work.
Thumbs up.
Heads down, thumbs up.
Locked in.
Heads down.
Did you ever win that
locked
game?
in. Mate, I never got picked.
Weird thumbs?
No, weird thumbs.
Everyone's like, I don't want to touch those.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was the way that I was just crouched over. No good. They were like, oh, not this kid.
I always wanted to get picked.
But you know what? They were fearful.
They were afraid.
They were run by fear. They went, I can't choose this guy.
He'll win.
He'll win. And, you know, people are still losers.
Yeah.
But it is quite truly, I think, at the start of the year, we talked about it. For multiple weeks, the new year brings on new goals,
new
and
problems.
Opportunities. It does also bring on new problems. I think it's a really good time to put your head down and lock in, which is just focusing wholeheartedly and with intention on the things that you truly want to do. I have a point to make on that. Great, because you're locking in.
I'm locked in.
My point to make on that is that
What,
real work stuff... Yes, sir.
when you say put your head down, is that like forget the noise? Like fuck what anyone else is saying or thinking. Head down. Blinders? Blinders?
Blinders.
Blinders?
Yeah, it's almost
blinders on, like a racehorse.
like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And really focus on what you're after right now.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. It may be a physical thing, it may be an education thing, it may be just goal-related or personal achievement or anything like that.
Like, the most fun. Cut this out.
That one's getting out.
So I like when I'm in a jokey mood.
No, I love it too. We just cannot leave that in.
I know, I just needed to say it to make you laugh.
Maybe in the BTS. You may,
Never seen that!
Yeah.
You're never
maybe.
seeing that!
For the right price, I'll sell that clip.
For $100 billion.
Yeah, uncancelable money.
Yeah.
Yeah. My point about locking in, real work starts when the fun ends. What does that mean? I'll tell you what I believe it means. So often when a new opportunity comes up, a new goal, a new idea, it is so fun to start with. It's the best. Nacho, the best. It's the best. But it's so easy from there to hyper focus on it a little bit, have that tunnel vision, and then go, that's not really what I'm interested in anymore.
Yeah.
Or the fun of it, the almost novelty of it has ended. So I'm kind of done with it. It's not really providing me the same sort of feeling and dopamine that it was before. And that's why this phrase is entirely about the idea that if the thing that you are chasing, the thing that you are after, requires the work, that the work for that thing doesn't truly start until the fun that you were having when you began that thing ends.
Do you think David Goggins has fun?
Brother, I think he does.
I think he would.
I think he does, because I think he's a little bit maniacal in a good way for the most part. But I think he does. I think now. I think when he
taking souls.
I think when he started, no.
Yeah, when he was like really fat.
He wasn't. He was. Man was not scared. But
He
I
wasn't
think
afraid.
at the start, it was not fun. It was just about the consistency. But now I think, no matter how crazy the thing that he does is, he's like,
I don't think so.
fuck yeah, this is the best.
But I think he's just saying that to be like, you
Have a
know,
different perspective on things. Maybe.
head down.
Anyway, long tangent. To relate to that point, I wanted Ben to talk about top 3 focus / cognitive enhancers.
Mate, this is fucking perfect.
Right? Well,
This is like the whole topic of this conversation.
Well, yeah.
Is linked into. We have not mentioned anything that is not on this topic. The whole page.
Well, we've stayed on track.
Oh, 100%. We
the
haven't
whole
gone
time.
off.
Are you saying that in terms
In
of...
sarcasm, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like we should have taken some of these
I actually didn't take. I
cognitive
took one of these
enhancers
things
beforehand. Well, start me off, and maybe actually start with the second one, go down the list, and then end with the top one.
I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first one, something that I actually don't use. I use one of these, so it's a pairing of two.
Mm-hmm.
So it's caffeine and L-theanine.
Mm-hmm.
Reason I don't use caffeine is just because I don't like the feeling at all. But
You're just very caffeine sensitive.
yeah,
person.
caffeine sensitive. So
Not for you.
just L-theanine for me is like great. But if you pair the two, it actually brings that it brings a cortisol spike down from the caffeine, so you're not like crazy jitters and all that sort of stuff. So.
I guess for a bit of context, and pardon me for interrupting. A bit of context. You know, there's these people. You might be one of them, and it's perfectly okay. You get a pre-workout, and it's got like 500 milligrams of caffeine in it.
Not enough.
You're like, this is the best.
It's like crack.
It's like crack. And then next thing you know, it's like so overwhelming. Or like, there's so much going on in your brain that you cannot focus on your workout.
It's like you want to do everything all at once.
You want to do everything all at once in that moment. In that
It's like that
specific
movie.
moment. Yeah, but we're not going to get into that. In that specific moment. And you end up feeling like actually overly jumbled from
Yeah.
like the inputs, like the inputs of everything. L-theanine helps level out that the power that caffeine has, to be honest. And it creates this calm focus where you're really cognitively switched on.
Yeah.
You got the caffeine doing its thing, doing its job. And then the L-theanine is keeping you level at a point that you can direct that mental energy into a specific task or idea. I think those are two great things. Pair them if you can. Honestly, I think you will see some impeccable results. Even if you're, you know, maybe you're a
I'd
chippy
say-
or a landscaper, and first thing is, you know, a coffee in the morning, or a Red Bull or a Monster in the morning. If you were, well, we'll get into that. If you were to pair that with L-theanine, I think you would realize you'd still have all the energy that you have, but like, you'd feel like a weapon when you get to work.
You'll be yelling at your workers like, pick up that brick.
Not even that, just the planning and organization
Yeah.
around it, I think, would be fantastic.
Calm up.
Measurements just, like, to the millimeter. Exceptional.
L-theanine, I'd say the dosage you'd want to go 200 milligrams.
The weed want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd want to go.
Do we think that the benefits
No
are
doctors,
best?
200 milligrams of L-theanine, 100 caffeine, 150.
Between 100 and 200, I
Yeah.
think. Depends on the person. Again, somebody like you. No good.
I
mate.
could do like 50 milligrams
No
to be
good.
honest
Yeah.
of caffeine.
Like a half shot of coffee.
Yeah, or like little tiny half a no-dos or something.
Yeah. I like that. Two great products for cognitive enhancement, especially when paired. Moving on. Next one.
Next one, I took this before this evening. Alpha GPC. It's a nootropic for like focus. Just helps you, I guess, focus. Helps your brain fire on all cylinders.
It really on all cylinders, like an engine.
Yeah. And I believe
Firing.
it helps with your choline production, which you get in eggs.
You certainly do.
So if you eat lots of eggs, you're gonna feel great.
You should be dialed in.
But you could just supplement with Alpha GPC
Alpha
as well.
GPC. Yeah, it is a nootropic for cognitive function and focus.
Neurotransmitter. We're just throwing out brainwaves.
Yeah, alpha brainwaves.
Beta brainwaves.
Neuroplasticity. That's a good
that's
word.
a good one. Mind control.
Yeah.
What's the... Unagi.
Unagi. Or what's the other one? Like being...
Telepathic.
Yeah. Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Alpha GPC. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Alpha GPC is great for telepathy. Actually, on telepathy, let's see if it works. You took some Alpha GPC.
I did take some.
I'm thinking of a food.
3, 2, 1.
Pizza.
No way. Alright.
Okay,
Well, we need to see if this will actually work.
I'm thinking of a colour.
3, 2, 1. Blue. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, maybe there is something to this.
What?
I'm thinking of a number.
3, 2, 1. 7. No way.
Okay.
That's crazy, guys. That's not rehearsed.
Look, we're gonna have to move on because it's getting into some scary territory now. But that's just an example of the power of Alpha GPC.
It is.
So definitely.
Next one, I think you should talk about because you do
it.
take it. I don't even take it.
Yes. Oh, also on the topic of Alpha GPC.
Oh, milligrams.
There is a massive milligrams. Do your own personal research. 400 to 800 milligrams is like what they say is like ideal in between that range, but you can honestly anywhere 200 to 800 is probably.
I do
gonna
300
give you
in the morning, but if I've got to do something that I have to use my brain after work,
maybe a little bit more.
So I do another 300 after. But I'll only do that like once a week, like for this.
What I was going to say was on the topic of Alpha GPC, and I've referenced it in a page before. There is a massive growing rate of people being diagnosed with ADHD. Alpha GPC is an incredible non-prescription option that you can use for focus if your ADHD or ADD is something that heavily affects your focus towards a certain task. Having a bit of Alpha GPC, maybe even paired with some L-theanine, and if you're somebody with ADHD that's not caffeine intolerant, a little bit of caffeine, mate, that's a wonder pick right there.
Mate,
yeah,
I'd pair all of these together all at once.
That's a potion. That's you know, I talked about the other week. Yeah, you'd be bordering on Bradley Cooper from Limitless.
Yeah.
If that was the case. So on the same sort of topic, my next supplement, L-tyrosine. Now, I use L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is an amino acid. And it's actually a precursor to dopamine production.
My favourite.
Who doesn't love a bit of dopamine?
Dopamine's my favourite thing ever.
It quite literally runs the world.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
It does run our lives, though.
Yep.
I love dopamine.
If you even think about the trade-off of buying something with money, like, yeah, money makes the world go round. But at the end of the day, most like capitalist sort of purchases, well, they're fueled by dopamine.
You got to be dopamine maxing though.
Yeah.
No, you got to be
times.
pre-dopamine maxing. So you got to take things that help with your dopamine production.
Yes.
Don't be like scrolling TikTok, have
Subway Surfers,
a stream on there, and then
stream.
like
maybe Netflix playing.
Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen some terrible examples of that. Yeah, not good. But L-tyrosine, especially if you're taking it before doing something that requires maybe a lot of mental bandwidth, is...
Did you take it before that word?
Do you like the phrase mental bandwidth?
Well, I'm just wondering if you took some before you said that word.
I have taken some L-tyrosine today.
Very nice.
But taking it before doing a task that requires a lot of mental bandwidth, if you're taking something that will help with the aiding of dopamine production and then you start doing that task, you'll actually find that you will slowly get used to the idea and your brain and your body will start to relate. I feel good, I produce dopamine when I do those tasks. And so being very intentional with taking L-tyrosine and then doing a specific task, something that you may not want to do, folding your clothes, changing your bed, whatever it may be, an assignment you've got to do, it will help create a positive feedback loop between the task and the dopamine that's produced in your mind. So L-tyrosine is one that I highly recommend. And then moving on to
I've got one that perfectly...
final one.
That perfectly...
This is potentially Ben's favourite.
That gives you dopamine.
Yeah, direct dopamine producer.
Yeah, so it's my favourite product on the market. I think everyone should be taking this. I've been loving this product for about 5 years now.
Sometimes overly loving it.
Yeah, 5 years. Sometimes abusing it. But it would be my favourite.
What kind of abuse are we talking about?
I just love putting it in my mouth.
Okay, yeah, it could be considered abuse.
And that's nicotine. So if you thought that conversation was going elsewhere, it's nicotine. So nicotine it would pretty much help. Yeah, you have nicotine receptors in your brain that give off dopamine, I'm pretty sure. Makes you feel fucking good.
It does make you feel good.
And whenever I pop one of these in, I'm just focused. So I just zone into now and I feel great. Speaking of, I feel like I need one.
No, go for it, my friend. No,
so the best delivery way is through patch.
Patch is actually ideal, and this is because now also just quickly to cut in for all of for anybody that is watching, if you just heard Ben say nicotine is fantastic for cognitive enhancement, and you are sitting there with a flavored Chinese USB air stick thinking, oh yeah, I'm
my
locked
brain is
in right now. The alpha brainwaves are, mate, you should see the movement there. No.
You need serious help.
No. There is a point where the trade-off of the cognitive benefits are not outweighed by the fact that inhalation of any sort of smoke or vapor, particularly with chemicals in it,
Carcinogens.
are carcinogenic, precisely. And this is what we call a diminishing return.
Yeah.
So you are taking something that is good, but in a way or in an amount, both apply, that negatively impacts you rather than positively impacting you. Up the back door, not ideal for nicotine.
No.
I'm going to say that immediately. Definitely no prison walleting any sort of nicotine
suppository.
product. No suppository, no nicotine suppository. Probably not.
No enemas.
Not great for you. No, yeah, you don't want to be doing a nicotine enema.
Coffee.
Like a nicotine spray.
Yeah, coffee enema with the nicotine in there.
Don't do that. But you do want to be very careful with, and that is what my entire tangent about vapes was about, is as much as it can be extremely beneficial, you do need to be very careful with the delivery system of it, which is why Ben said the old patch, because it is the least harmful way to absorb nicotine. It's going to be the one least likely to cause and lead to cancer or cancer cell production.
If you do have skin irritation from the patch, some people do, just get like the gum.
Yeah.
It's probably the next best.
Yeah. So then after that, Ben, you would probably say orally, correct?
Yeah.
Some of those forms. Now, don't think about that the wrong way.
Yeah. Orally, yes.
Orally.
You put it. You can get like nicotine patches that don't have many chemicals. Like I don't think they've got any chemicals in it. Maybe some.
A mouth patch.
A
nicotine
no,
patch?
gum patch.
A
no,
pouch?
Pouch. Fuck, I need more. A pouch or like just the gum. You can get like nicotine gum.
Yeah, nicotine
you can actually
gum.
get like natural mints, but they only sell them in America, so they're pretty expensive to import them here. I've got them once. They only come in like 2 to 4 milligrams, which is probably all you need.
It's actually a very optimal amount when it comes to focus and cognitive function. That probably upper limit 5-6 milligrams.
Yeah.
But
anything more has a detriment.
Yeah, 3 to 5 is a really good amount for function and focus. Cheeky, take it
Well,
out.
I had this one's a 14 milligrams, so
Oh, wowee!
I just took 2 doses there.
You're about to be more wired in
Yeah.
than
I've got a
than
big
anyone.
big drive tonight, so
big drive. So yes, 3 to 5 milligrams, really good for focus and cognitive enhancement. Another oral way of taking your nicotine is nicotine spray.
oh
Some people like to do it like that, like yourself, but most people just a little spritz into the mouth.
yeah.
That can be beneficial. Now, in saying all of this, please do understand that nicotine is extremely addictive. Now, while it does have other benefits like very good for focus,
Alzheimer's
dopamine
prevention.
production, cognition, it has been proven to reduce the chance of Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
It has also, research has shown, it's actually neuroprotective. So that is what actually leads into the reduction of Alzheimer's and early onset Alzheimer's,
Dementia.
with-
Anything that has deterioration of the brain.
Exactly. But with all of those things in mind, we do not recommend that you even use nicotine at all. But it is just a
Potential.
almost could aid with productivity and
Yeah.
focus.
Like at the
And
same time, caffeine's addictive as well. So
it is.
if you see yourself becoming dependent on these things, definitely have a break.
Yeah.
And make sure you're not addicted.
Or assess is this the right thing for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And on the same topic as L-tyrosine, use it when trying to complete a task.
Yeah.
Because it will continue to do the same sort of thing that I was talking about, which is create a positive feedback loop, a positive dopamine loop of when I use it, I feel good. And it's like, when do I use it? It's around these specific tasks that I don't necessarily feel like doing. Therefore, your brain creates the relationship that when I fold my laundry, because I'm using nicotine,
Yeah.
it feels great. And so you can also actually get to a point where you actually just feel like doing your laundry anyway without nicotine or the use of L-tyrosine or alpha GPC,
Like,
any of these things.
You wouldn't
we
use
listed.
these supplements unless you've got unless you have something to do that you need your focus and your brain on. Like, you wouldn't take all these and then sit in bed scrolling TikTok.
100%. That is a way to, as Ben said, dopamine max.
Dopamine max.
In the worst way possible.
Because then you'll be addicted to... Oh, it'd just be horrible.
Yeah, you then feel a sense of accomplishment for doing nothing. And that
yeah.
is the
Epitome
just-
of an incel.
yeah, that, and it's just the way to be less secure about yourself, feel less productive, be less consistent and disciplined. No good. It's not what you want. So keep all of those things in mind. None of what we say is ever a prescription. None of what we
Or
say
medical
is
advice.
even necessarily recommended. It is what has been proven by research, and do your own research on it. You know, don't necessarily take our words for it.
Yeah.
But these are also our experiences with these things. So I think they're just things that we find important and want to share with other people. But like we always say, at the end of the day, this right here, we absolutely adore anybody watching and tuning in. But at the end of the day, it is for me and you, my friend.
Yeah.
So
On that note...
yeah, it has been a serious one today.
Yeah.
It has been a serious
Couple jokes
one.
in there, but...
There's a couple jokes in there. We are in that mindset right now and having that perspective that it's really time to go to work. I hope you enjoyed this serious chat. I certainly did. I thought not only was it very insightful to hear your perspective on things, but it also felt great to discuss with you our different perspectives on life that aren't actually even that different. I just mean different in a general sense.
Yeah.
But compared to the way that other people may think. You tend to finish these things off with an old adage. So I would love to hear one this week.
Today's one's going to be a short and sharp one, but it's going to be you versus you. So it's, and as we talked about in this conversation, how you need to take responsibility for things, how you perceive things, how your mindset is. It's life is you versus you. I'm not comparing myself to the guy next to me. I'm comparing myself to me yesterday, to me a year ago. So
And also maybe to the you that you want to be.
to the you that you want to be. So it's always going to be you competing against yourself, because that's how you get better.
I think it's also remember that it's you competing against yourself. You're going to compare yourself to other people, but at the end of the day, compare yourself to who you were, compare yourself to the person that you want to be.
And that's going to steal joy from you if you compare yourself to other people, and you, at the end of the day, that won't give you any fulfillment.
No.
What will is you becoming better than you were yesterday, you versus you.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Good stuff, sir.